the passage that we listened just now. It's a quite long passage with in fact two incidents inside, two stories inside, two healing incidents inside. One of healing the woman with the 12 years of bleeding, and another one raising a girl, Jairus' daughter, to life from death. Now these two incidents are together connected in this passage. When you look at this passage, it is something like a literary genre in St. Mark's Gospel, which we call a kind of sandwich writing. What is this sandwich writing? It's called Marcan sandwich. You know what a sandwich is? Sandwich, there are two pieces of bread, and between there are some vegetables, some non-veg, some tomatoes, leaves and all kept inside. What does sandwich do? We know that in lives we will love sandwich better than eating separately the bread. When we look at the bread, the salad leaves, or the tomatoes, or cheese or butter that we have, can we eat separately? Yes, we can eat separately, but there is some beauty and there is some different taste when we put as a sandwich. That is called sandwich. Now Mark uses a literary style called sandwich style in his writing. This is called in the technical language intercalation. A kind of intercalation Mark uses in his writing. What is a sandwich he uses in this passage? We have here the top part of the sandwich, the top piece of the bread, the incident of Jairus coming to Jesus and asking for his daughter to be healed. And the last part of the story, the last piece of bread, again it is to Jairus, when Jesus goes to the house of Jairus, where the girl was already dead. In between this story, there is a sandwich element. And what is that? The woman with the hemorrhage, the bleeding. So this is something like a sandwich. The top piece and the bottom piece are stories of the same. And in the middle, we have the incident of the woman with the hemorrhage. So this is called a literary style in the writing of Mark, Marcan sandwich, or technically it is called intercalation. Now, if you look at these two incidents, there are some similarities. No wonder why Mark put these two incidents together in one piece, actually, as a sandwich. There are many similarities in these two incidents. Let us look at the similarities now. Very interesting to note the similarities. The similarities are this: neither the woman or the girl is named in this incidents. We don't know the name of the woman. We do not know the name of the girl. But we know the name of the father of the girl, Jairus. But the two people, the woman and the girl, they are not mentioned. Jairus and the woman, we find, fell at the feet of Jesus. Both fell at the feet of Jesus. And both women were addressed in this passage as daughter. Jesus addresses them, both of them, as daughter. Number 12 is common to both incidents. The woman with the hemorrhage had a bleeding for 12 years and no doctors could heal her. Whereas we have the girl who is of 12 years of age. Number 12 is very common. Then both women were ritually unclean. Another common similarity is what is it meaning? Ritually unclean. Ritually unclean in the time of Jesus, in the time of the Bible means, a dead person is ritually unclean. You cannot touch that person. We have several incidents in the dead person, wounded person, or ritually unclean. Tobias could not bury because dead person, and he has to wait for the sunset. So ritually unclean, the girl with the 12 years old. Woman with the bleeding, again ritually unclean. So both were in the time of Jesus. Ritually unclean, should not approach anybody, should not be touched, should not be handled. And in the both incidents, we have the touch of God and the touch of the people. In the incident of the woman with the hemorrhage, she touches Jesus. In the incident of raising the girl to life, Jesus touches the girl. Both there is the touch. And finally, both were connected to life. The girl raised to life, and the woman with 12 years of bleeding comes back to a new life. Why that new life? If a person is with bleeding and no healing can take place, no child will be born out of her. And that means she is almost equal to dead and unclean. And Jesus cures her. Life comes back to her. Life is very common in both. Now, what I want to share with you is only just one point from here. The touch. The touch. The touch of the woman and the touch of God. I'm going to dwell on that. What are we going to learn from the touch? You know that touch is very therapeutic, very healing. Studies say babies, when they are touched by human beings, they grow healthier. Even adults, anyone, if you touch the right way, there is a healing process, and there is also affection and warmth. Touch is very therapeutic, very healing. Jesus touches here, and the woman touches Jesus. There is the healing that takes place through this touch. And if you look into the many of the miracles of Jesus, many of the miracles Jesus heals by touching. He touches the blind man on the eyes. He touches the leper. He touches those who are paralytic. And by touching them, the healing begins. The healing process begins. So even in the miracles of Jesus, there is this touch of God. What do you learn from this? Just by touching. The touch of God and touch of each one of us towards each other and towards God. I would like to present to you from these two incidents 3 important lessons to learn. What is the first lesson? First lesson is, I'll put it as ABC formula. Accept. First is accept. Accept what? Accept people as they are. Here there is a God who accepted this woman and the girl, both ritually unclean, accepted them as they. He did not keep a distance from them, a social distance. He touched them. A woman touched, and he touched the girl. Accept people as they are. How many of us do accept people as they are? Here, the gender or ritual traditions of the time did not matter for Jesus. Gender, culture, religion, or social norms did not matter for Jesus. For him, the people were most significant. This is the first thing. And he treated them, approached them, accepted them as they were. That's the first lesson to learn. Second lesson, B. Believe in God and trust others. Here we have the woman believing in Jesus, and she talks to herself, if I could touch, I'll be well. We have her thoughts amplified in this passage. Probably later she must have shared this incident to many people, and Saint Mark wrote it down. You know, her thoughts were loudly expressed. If I would touch him, I would be healed. She had belief in Jesus. And the father of the girl, Jairus, had faith and trust in Jesus. So you find two people having tremendous amount of belief and trust in the other persons. They trusted Jesus. This is the second lesson to be learned, believing. Third lesson, care and sensitivity. What is a care and sensitivity from the part of Jesus? Jesus was sensitive to the touch of this lady. He was aware. How many of us are sensitive? Not only touch, the words and the people who are around us. In the crowd, when people were thronging and moving together, Jesus was sensitive to that touch, the faith touch of this woman. Jesus was sensitive to touch girl. Nobody could go near a dead person. And Jesus touched that girl, 12 years old girl. Not only he held her by the hand and said, Talitha Kumi, little girl, get up. He said something more. He said, give her something to eat. That is God talk. That is our God. Very humane. Not just worried about abstract spiritual things. He was also worried about her need. Give her something to eat. That is sensitivity. That is care. To conclude, let me put for you this painting or the picture of Michelangelo. Many of us must have seen this picture. This is part of that painting, the creation. This full painting you will find original in Vatican, in Sistine Chapel, at the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, where the election of the Pope takes place, what we call conclave, where cardinals gather to elect the Pope. So, at the ceiling of this chapel, there is this painting of Michelangelo, creation. One hand of God, on the right side when you face the picture, is the hand of God. I have given only just the two hands, entire painting I have not given there. One hand of God trying to reach and touch man, Adam. That's a part of the painting. You can see the right side hand when you look at the picture, trying to reach and touch man. And man's hand represented by Adam. This is typical attitude of humanity, typical attitude of God himself. God is trying to reach us. God is trying to touch us. This is very much interested in us. But look at the Adam's hand, man's hand, humanity's hand. That finger is not interested in reaching out to God. It is God who is interested. The finger of Adam, not at all interested in reaching out and touching God. This is typical of our behavior. Instead, we should try to reach and touch God. That should be our prayer. That should be our attitude. That should be our mindset. That I need to touch this God every day and take His touch every day in my life. In fact, there is a beautiful prayer written by Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore, which goes like this. I have come to thee to take thy touch before I begin my day. I have come to thee to take thy touch before I begin my day. Let that be your daily prayer. Let that be your attitude. Let that be your way of life every moment, every day of your life.